dissected 10 beds. Everything was bleached. All the countertops, all my sinks and tubs had bleach in them. They were being sanitized. I felt good. I was kicking some tush. Then my girlfriend walks in and I look as I'm running the jets to sanitize the innards of the jetted tub. I realize I'm standing in a lake of water. What is going on? I open the access tub and there's water flowing from the pump. What is going on? Well, I call my plumber. He was just over at the remodel yesterday for another issue. That's another topic. As I call the plumber Travis, who is on speed dial, we're becoming great friends. Very great friends. Anyways, he was 10 minutes away. He came over, told me what the problem was. Couldn't run the tub, but he's gonna get it taken care of. So, sorry. The best part of my speech, I left today. So what I have to say is that it's progress or excuses. And for me, every day is progress. Progress on, friends. Thank you, and I thought I had a bad day.
That's good for that.
It's not over yet, Harry.
It's not over yet.
What was the title?
Everybody does have a ballot sheet
Where I
that
went
you
right.
can write notes to, suggestions, comments to our speakers. Our second speaker today is Rich Briner. His evaluator is Channing. Channing, can you tell us what we're looking for in Rich's speech?
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, Rich Briner is speaking from the Competent Communication Manual, project number 3. Get to the point. And what we're looking for is a general purpose is to inform, persuade, entertain, or inspire. I'm looking forward as to which one of those is going to happen. The specific purpose is a one-sentence statement about what he hopes to accomplish in his speech. I'm looking forward to a 5 to 7 minute speech where Rich will tell us where I went right. Madam Toastmaster.
I don't know which way I
Our next
went
speaker is Rich Briner. He has a brand new speech.
That's enough.
Have you a friend or relative who has mental problems, who perhaps was hospitalized for mental illness? Rich is here to give them hope. He's to tell a story of his 6-month stay in a psych ward. Speaking on Where I Went Right, Rich Briner. Where I Went Right.
I'm standing here as a former mental patient. Think about that, and then I want you to go back with me to the scene where my mother, my father, the shrink, and I were sitting, and we were being registered for the psychiatric ward, and Dr. Stephen Levine looked at my mother and said, you know, we're going to give him some electroconvulsive therapy, and there could be a danger of brain damage. And my mother said, well, how will we be able to tell? Which is a great thing to have your mom say in the midst of being committed to a psychiatric ward. She keeps her sense of humor. I did spend 6 months in the Veterans Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio, Wade Park. But I want to talk about what happened, how I was cured, and what I did, and where I went right after I left the hospital. I was drafted the same day that Cassius Clay was drafted, on April 26, 1967. Cassius Clay, also known as Muhammad Ali, refused the draft and was out for 3 years. By that time, I was in and out. In April 1969, I got an honorable discharge. I had a do-nothing army. I was in West Berlin, a spit-shine army. We pick up cigarette butts, whereas some friends of mine who got drafted the same day I did were in Vietnam. Some of them didn't come back. So I lucked out with an effortless 2 years. But when I got out of the service, here's where the mental problem began. They called it a service-connected disability, and it happened 10 months after I'd been out of the service. 10 months? What could have happened in 10 months? I had the attitude when I got out that I had lost 2 years of my life. I had totally wasted 2 years of my life. I was a college dropout. I had great opportunities, and yet I blew it. And so when I got out, I had this thing, I want to pick up for lost time. I got out in April. I signed up for a speed reading course, took a speed reading course. That was kind of like my mentality. I want to catch it. I took a scuba diving course with my brother during the summer, and then I signed up for 19 credit hours at John Carroll University because I wanted to finish in the next year. That's all I needed. And so I started getting involved in the church, in our church. I got involved in doing lecture on Sundays. I got involved in being on the parish council. Then I got involved in, because I didn't have enough to do, to tutoring some kid. And plus, I was commuting to college, so I would drive back and forth to John Carroll University from my parents' home, and it was a 1-hour drive each way. So what does that mean? That means 10 hours a week I was driving back and forth in the car. And you pile all that on to all these other activities. 19 credit hours as a full-time student. I wasn't sleeping at night. I got nervous, really nervous. And it all came to 10 months after I'd been out. I was on my way to John Carroll. My dad was driving me out Wade Park Boulevard. My heart started palpitating because I had to give a speech in my psychology class that day. And I'm just so nervous. I hadn't slept all night. I had rewritten the speech a couple times. I was a wreck, nervous wreck. And my dad drives by the Veterans Hospital. He says, well, I said, Dad, my heart is palpitating. Anyway, he says, okay, well, let's take you in and see, maybe they can help you out. And so we went into the Veterans Hospital, and I stayed for 6 months. I was in the psychiatric ward 31A. That is closed ward, where you get medication and they don't let you out. Anyhow, I was there for 6 months. During that time, I had electroconvulsive therapy. That's like, if you are familiar with the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, his character, they put electrodes on your brain and they jolt your whole body. Back then, this was a good therapeutic technique. I don't know if they use it anymore, but when I had 20 of these, 20 of them, and over a 6-week period, and I got out, and then one day I remember my mother came in to see me, and I looked, I said, Mom, where have I been? What's going on here? Where am I? And my mother just broke down in tears because she realized that I was coming out of it. Anyway, Jack Nicholson only had one. Actually, he had 2, and it made him, something was dewired in his brain. It was very sad, but for me, I lucked out. When I got out, where did I go right? I went back to college. I got my degree in about 1.5 years. I was 26 years old, and I knew at that point that this is where I went right. I suddenly realized that I wanted to be a speech teacher. 26 years old, but I was a lousy undergraduate student, and I only had a 2.3, and so I wanted to go to graduate school. That's another story, but the point is, I knew what I wanted to do, and so I became a speech teacher, and I ended up teaching for 40 years. I was happy. It brought joy to others. Maybe not anyone in this room, but it brought joy to others. And if you have a relative or a friend who has had psychiatric problems, like one of my sisters, grown sisters, her kids left the nest, and she was hospitalized for a week or so. If you have somebody like that in your life, just tell them my story, because it can give them hope. Sometimes we think that he's in a shrink ward, he's been in there 5 months, there's no hope for this dude. There is. I can always become a Toastmaster.
Thank you, Rich. Tina, can we get a timer's report on our speeches, please?
Christian was at 6 minutes 49 seconds, and Rich was at 7 minutes 39 seconds.
See, you won. You won.
Yeah. Our second portion of our meeting is our table topics, where we're able to learn how to speak on our feet, questions that have been prepared for us. And to conduct the table topics is Carrie Turley. Please help me welcome Carrie.
Fellow Toastmasters, I should tell you that my middle name is Patricia. So there, I'm very Irish. And
All right.